She might be best known as one of the founding members of the Fast and the Furious franchise, but there's more to Jordana Brewster than her street racing role. Jordana Brewster made her film debut in 1998's The Faculty, which wasn't as big of a hit as the studio hoped it would be. A few years later, The Fast and the Furious hit theaters, and it was a wild success. Brewster certainly did not see those box office numbers coming, and she definitely did not expect the movie to change her career like it did. That the film was so popular and spawned many sequels came as a pleasant surprise for Brewster, and she reprised her role as Mia in 6 of the next 10 films. She told Collider in 2021, "I thought it was totally a one-and-done film, and then they reinvented it with Too Fast, Too Furious, and then Tokyo Drift went a whole different direction, and then when I came back for 4, I was like, oh my god, I was so excited, and then I thought, okay, maybe this is gonna keep progressing for me," which was how it ended up.
Our world's grown, Dom. I got this one.
After dating celebs like Derek Jeter and Mark Wahlberg, Jordana Brewster settled down and started a family. In 2007, Brewster married producer Andrew Form, whom she met in 2005 while filming the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. She once dished to in-style weddings. "We started dating in secret, hanging out in my trailer, because it would have been unprofessional otherwise." The pair went on to welcome 2 sons together. Julian was born in 2013 and Rowan was born in 2016, both via surrogate. Brewster has spoken at length about her decision to use a surrogate to carry her children and the complicated mix of feelings she's learned to navigate. She told People magazine, "I'm really hard on myself. I was always like, I'm less than as a mother because I didn't carry." The actor went on to partner with Clear Blue for their Conceivinghood campaign, which aimed to remove the stigma surrounding infertility and open up conversations about trying to conceive. She told People, "I thought conceiving would be no problem for me, which I think a lot of women do. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait, this is going to be a little more challenging than I thought." As if Jordana Brewster was not busy enough with her acting career and raising her 2 kids, she uses her platform to help other mothers in need. Since 2014, she's worked with Alliance of Moms, a nonprofit that assists young parents who grew up in the foster care system. Brewster said in People, "I have a great community of moms with so much support, but I think we're also responsible for taking care of moms who don't have as many resources."
We are an alliance of moms.
The organization offers an event for new moms called Raising Baby, which includes workshops about child health, wellness, and development. And it's an event that is near and dear to Brewster's heart. She told People, "The more resources and the more tools you can give, the better. It's just giving kids access to what they wouldn't usually have." The Fast and Furious star has also worked with No Kid Hungry, a nonprofit that seeks to eradicate childhood hunger. She told Yahoo in 2015, "I first got involved with No Kid Hungry because I personally was pretty obsessed with making sure Julian was eating the right things. They change kids' lives, like they implemented school breakfasts in New York City to make sure no child is going to class without eating." In July 2020, Jordana Brewster filed for divorce from producer Andrew Form after 13 years of marriage. Per ET, the two quietly separated that March. The divorce was finalized the following year. In 2021, Brewster opened up to Glamour about the dissolution of the relationship. She wrote, "Once we stopped jumping the initial hurdles that a couple does, baby, surrogacy, 2 house renovations, I realized something was missing for both of us. When there wasn't a project to invest in together, we didn't have much to say to each other." The split didn't come cheap for Brewster, who was ordered to pay her ex $5 million as part of the settlement. But there seems to be no ill will, and Brewster has expressed that she and her ex-husband are good at co-parenting their 2 sons, Julian and Rowan. She shared with People, "We communicate better as co-parents than we did as husband and wife. There's no acrimony, which I think really helps." Jordana Brewster has been very candid over the years when it comes to discussing her personal life. In the essay she penned for Glamour, the actor opened up about living with an eating disorder, body image issues, and the steps she took to get help. She shared that she first struggled with binge eating when she was still married to Andrew Form, and then later struggled with restrictive eating. She wrote, "The cliche that controlling your food gives you the illusion of control of your life is true. I was so focused on the number on the scale and the number of calories I consumed in a day that I ignored all other problems. I didn't look closely at my career, my marriage." Brewster sought out therapy to help her cope with her disordered eating and says she now has a healthy relationship with food and with her body. She wrote, "If body issues do come up, I deal with them head on." In September of 2022, Jordana Brewster married CEO Mason Morfitt in a beautiful ceremony in Montecito, California. The couple met years before while both were still married to their exes, and they clearly had made an impression on each other. In her essay for Glamour, Brewster wrote that she began following Morfitt on Instagram shortly after they initially crossed paths. She said, "My heart would leap as soon as he liked a post or commented on something I'd written." It turned out the pair had more in common than she initially realized as well. She wrote, "We had similar backgrounds. We'd grown up abroad, ping-ponging from England to Brazil, me, and Indonesia, him." The couple got engaged in September of 2021, with Brewster making a cute announcement on Instagram. The pic showed the happy couple cuddled up on the beach, a diamond ring visible on Brewster's finger. The wedding, which took place a year later, was a family affair as Brewster's sons walked her down the aisle. When Jordana Brewster tied the knot in 2022, Fast and Furious pals like Vin Diesel and Ludacris were there with bells on, as was a blue Acura Integra GSR. The vehicle was a nod to Paul Walker, and it wasn't the day's only tribute to the late actor. As E! News reported at the time, a life-size photo of Walker and Brewster's characters was affixed to the driver's side window, making it look like Mia was driving Brian around in the car. Brewster told E! News, "No matter what, he's always going to be an integral part of the franchise. We don't even have to make an effort to honor him because he's just stitched into the legacy forever and ever." And Walker's Fast and Furious family continued to pay tribute to his memory. For starters, Brewster always wishes him a happy birthday on Instagram, and she's spoken candidly about her grieving process, telling People in 2021, "It just gets very intense, and then sometimes it's less intense, but it just comes in waves, regardless of whether it's that person's birthday or not." Brewster and Walker, who played love interests in the franchise, clearly had a strong connection on the screen and behind the scenes. And while their relationship was always platonic, Brewster did develop a small crush on Walker. She said in a chat with E! News, "I think on many levels he knew." If you follow Jordana Brewster on Instagram, then you have certainly seen pics of her adorable sons Julian and Rowan. But in April 2023, Brewster revealed on the Very Well Mind podcast that she was having second thoughts about sharing so much of her children's lives online. She said on the podcast, "I think I'm not going to do that as much because it's not fair. They're not consenting to it, so I'm going to stop that." For now, Brewster can make that call, but it seems one of her sons is enjoying the spotlight and just may become famous in his own right. In 2021, Brewster's older son Julian made a cameo in F9 The Fast Saga, following in his mom's footsteps, and it sounds like he had a blast.
He was so good. And he then wore the uniform that he had, his costume, like for days and days. He was so proud.
Aging gracefully can be easier said than done, especially in Hollywood. But Jordana Brewster isn't one to fear getting older. Rather, she was more than ready to turn the big 4-0 in 2020. She told Us Weekly, "I'm an old soul. I felt like when I'm in my 40s, I'm totally going to fly." Brewster expressed that her career has taken more interesting turns now that she falls in a different age range and has much to look forward to. She shared with Us Weekly, "The actresses I most admire are in their 40s and 50s. The roles are more complex. For a while, I was sidelined to the girlfriend or the good girl parts. I'm having more fun now than I did in my 20s. But it's not only Brewster's professional life that has gotten more exciting with age. Her personal life has changed considerably, as Brewster explained in her Glamour essay. "At 40, I cracked myself open and put it all on the line. With that came the collateral damage of my first marriage, but by risking it all, I gained the love of my life." If you need help with an eating disorder or know someone who does, help is available. Visit the National Eating Disorders Association website or contact NEDA's live helpline at 1-800-931-2237. You can also receive 24/7 crisis support via text. Send NEDA to 741-741.